filmed in the East End of Glasgow. Erik Robson reports on The Bond.
A summer Saturday in Bridgeton, in Glasgow's Protestant homeland. Before this patch of the East End was renovated by the bulldozer, the old Bridgeton was known to those of a different faith as Bitter Orange.
Bridgeton has always been a stronghold of the Orange Order. Indeed, redevelopment in Bridgeton perhaps makes the Bridgeton not seem the stronghold that it was. Yet, if one goes to the far ends of the world and meets a Scot from Glasgow, who is perhaps an Orangeman, associated with an Orange family, or came from Bridgeton, he immediately associates Bridgeton with Orangeism. Yes, Bridgeton has been a stronghold of Orangeism for more than a century, and is still in the minds of the Bridgeton people strongly Orange.
And this is a special Saturday. The elite corps of the Orange Order, the men of the Royal Black Institution, are leaving for their annual rally at Ayr. It's the day of the Black Walk.
It's a great honour to be in the Orange Order. It's a greater honour to be the Worshipful District Master of 37 District in Bridgeton. I'm about 5'6". Well, it makes you feel taller. It's a feeling you can't really explain. It's a great feeling to go out in the street and show the people what you really believe in. When we go around that bridge and cross, we think there's millions there. This institution is built on the Bible. And the Bible is the truth, and that's what we believe in.
Half a mile away, behind the slum-cleared streets of Parkhead, is Celtic, by tradition the Catholic rallying standard of East End Glasgow. They came first from Ireland during the potato famine, will move to the suburbs in successive redevelopments. Many, like Frank Kirk, still come back.
Stick close by, Willie. From my early stage, I've always supported them. I don't think it mattered to me that much if I stayed 90 miles away. I still think I'd support Celtic. When I was 10 and 11, I sort of seen the light, you know, that they were the best team.
Well, that wee rumour Nicholas was going to Liverpool Everton last season.
When I was brought up a Catholic, I don't know if I had anything to do with it. But certain people think it's religious. Personally, I don't see it that way.
Off you go. 2 adults. 2 adults. Aye. Let your daft uncle sit down there. He was there, sit beside the wee barra. Oh, that's rotten, Ron.
It's steeped in tradition, certainly. You know, my father was a Celtic supporter. The only team I've taken my son to see is the Celtic.
strident chord of the old-time religious and political certainties can still be heard in Glasgow. The passions still sometimes fall back to bigotry. They're wrapped in the old values, and they're stoutly defended by the Secretary of the Orange Order in Scotland, David Bryce.
In a day when people seem to lack firm beliefs and seem to be willing to compromise in so many fundamental things, I can understand some people saying we're extremists, but I don't believe we're extremists, and neither does the general membership of the Orange Order believe that we're extremists. There are many Orange people who have Roman Catholic friends. Many Orange people have Roman Catholic neighbours, and they have harmonious relationships with the Roman Catholic neighbours, the Roman Catholic workmates. No problems.
I think the Celtic team at the moment's got 7 Protestants. It doesn't matter to me. They play for Celtic. It doesn't matter whether Protestant, Hindu, Catholic, Jew. As long as they play for that jersey, you know, that's all that matters to me. Rangers will not sign a Catholic, which to me, personally, long may it continue because they'll never win anything. You can be at times terrified by your own support. You always get the pampots on both sides, either Catholic or Protestant, that shout about religion, the Pope, and shout about King Willie. Possibly you'll find the bulk of these people have never been in their church since they've been christened. Me, I like to think I've got less bitter. Although that I was again with a good friend of mine who went to one end, I went to the other. We would possibly shout at each other for 90 minutes. But after that game, it'd be finished, apart from the argy-bargy.
Glasgow's old arguments persist, an attempt by displaced Glaswegians to keep an old identity. Catholic, Protestant, Irishman and Scotsman. They can be heard on different street corners now, on the hills of concrete, away to the south and east. A purpose from the past, still keenly felt by the remnants of communities left in the East End.
It's my life. Bowling is my life. If it wasn't for bowling, I would have been in a pub or something, you know.
There's one thing about it, it's not the same as football matches. You never get a break in here, nor a bottle thrown at you, anything like that. Yeah. And when you're on the green, you're exercising all the muscles of your body. And it takes you away from the traffic. Used to play here at about 11 o'clock at night in the dark, lighting matches for to show you the jack and one thing gonna. I don't play at all now, you know. The old legs will not get down to it, you know.
At one time there was about 7 public greens in Bridgeton. At the time of unemployment, public green bowling was very popular. But in the last 20 years, it's faded away. And most of the people who had an enthusiasm for bowling have drifted into private clubs. And the public bowling is now practically extinct.
In the olden days, we had to work hard for to keep it going, you know. The ladies had to run the jumble sails and go round canvas and things round the houses, and we had it awful hard in the olden days.
Well, it's all changed altogether. A lot of young people taking it up, you know.
Used to be you couldn't get the young ones to come in Now, if you're too old, you don't get in. And it used to be called the old man's game. You know?
Against the odds of planning and economics, East End families cling to the old bond. Like Colleen Dunbar, make a life of it.
This is actually the first one, my family. It's had a wedding like this. And more or less it's been quiet weddings, you know. They've got to make a life for themselves, to make a good life. I'm quite happy with that. I'm sure they can't stick with their mother the other days.
Oh, not that nervous.
That's fine.
You nervous?
In a way, yes.
Mm-hmm. I think my mother's a bit nervous, you know.
Probably.
Francis! Steady. Square.
She's no intention of having a family. Well, Michael's unemployed because she said, there's no future in bringing a baby in when there's no money coming to keep it.
I'll get that. Just you shut your eyes, I'll cover your face.
Our parish church had actually closed down. So this was the first wedding in the family that's been at St Michael's Church. So everything's worked out well for her.
After the match at Parkhead, Frank Kirk will stay on in the East End. Once a successful salesman, he lives unemployed in a new town in East Kilbride. But he comes back to Bridgeton most days to find a social life. The Rover returning to a pub on the edge of Glasgow Green.
You've drank in a pub for, what, 16, 17 years. It's no easy to move away. And I'll always have strong ties here. You know, there's good people everywhere, but I've been brought up in this area. Nothing against the people of East Kilbride, but, you know, it's not the same attitude as down here. All my friends are down here.
Frank lives 9 miles away. Others travel much further. To Jerry and Jack, the Bowlers is their Scottish local. They and their families now live in Canada.
You never thought it was great. It was just to have knocked it down. That's when you realise the difference. It wasn't. You never thought it was anything special. You just lived here.
I would prefer to live in Canada now, only because my family are settled there now. Even I've been home here 3 times in the last 11 months, and this is the pub I come back to again.
I think the population of Bridgeton used to be something like 78,000. And I think the eventual aim was to have it round about 6,000 people or something like that.
It's happened, eh? Like we were back in January, like where I was born.
They tell me.
Where is it?
Well, they're building an Asda there. Bridgeton Main Street used to have one of the best shopping centres there was. Everything. You know, you could start off a haircut on a Saturday morning, finish up a pudding supper on a Saturday night, sort of thing, you know, and do your messages in between, you know. I'm very biased to be here. I would come back here tomorrow, but my wife and I don't know if I would like my kids to be brought up that again. That's a funny thing about it. I'm talking about from a selfish point of view.
If I was bringing my kids back, it would need to be within the next couple of years, because after that it'd be too late for them. They'd find it really difficult here. I've got an 11-year-old son. As soon as he's 16, I'll bring him back for a holiday.
What would you say to him if he wanted to stay?
Bye.
Now, for children of God and members of the Catholic Church, marriage is more than a human contract. Remember what St. Paul told the Ephesians: the union of husband and wife is only to be compared to the union that exists between Christ and his church. Michael, do you freely and willingly take Colleen here present for your lawful wife, according to the laws of God and Holy Mother of the Church?
Yes, I do.
Colleen, do you freely and willingly take Michael here present for your lawful husband?
I do.
Now that you're joined in holy matrimony, join your right hands. And say, I, Colleen Dunbar,
I, Colleen Dunbar,
take you, Michael Maxwell,
take you, Michael Maxwell,
for my lawful husband,
for my lawful husband,
to have and to hold,
from
this day forward, for better, for worse,
for
for richer, for poorer, in
poorer,
sickness and in health, until death do us part. With this ring,
With this ring,
I wed you, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
He will unite in love the couple he has joined in holy matrimony. Father, by your power you have made everything out of nothing. In the beginning you created the universe and made mankind to your own likeness. You gave man the help of woman, so that man and woman should no longer be two but one flesh. Look with love upon this woman, your daughter, Colleen. She asks your blessing. Give her grace, give her love, give her peace.
The tribal rituals of East End Glasgow make it an odd place, superficially like an Ulster city. The preoccupations of the tribe distort more common urban pressures. The story is told of a Celtic supporter falling out with a Pakistani bus driver one Saturday night and calling him an orange bastard. On the one hand, the living raw material for Billy Connolly. On the other, the serious questions of Ireland.
Second resolution tonight, ladies and gentlemen, will be moved by Right Worshipful tonight, Reverend Victor Ryan, Grand Master of the City of Belfast, Grand Chapter. Provincial Grand Master, Sovereign Grand Master, distinguished Sir Knights and friends all, we on the other side of that channel which joins us together, we have known a coming together of the Sir Knights of Ulster with the Sir Knights of Scotland. And we are proud to be in that happy fellowship. And we know that with your love and loyalty to us, Ulster is still not for sale, and Ulster will come out on top, for the right will always win. That is not preacher's language. It is the language of every right-thinking person who calls himself or herself by the name of Protestant. Through the words of your second resolution, we within the Protestant faith, I call us to new life in Jesus Christ. Thank you very much, Tonight Ryan. Will all those in favour of the resolution please say aye? Aye. There will be no noes accepted. We now call upon tonight Thomas Orr, Right Worthy Grand Master for Grand Orange Lodge of Scotland, to move the third and final resolution.
Right Worshipful Sir Knight Chairman, Most Worshipful Imperial Sovereign Grand Master, Sir Knights, brethren and friends, do you realise that the majority of councillors in Glasgow District Council are in fact Roman Catholic? Are you aware that since most of these people have been elected, most of the officials who run the city have now also become Roman Catholic? Now, I think that should tell you and I something. It tells you this, that once these people get into positions of power, then it's obvious what they intend to do. They intend to run this country. But sisters, brothers and friends, someone has got to stand for the Protestant faith. There are two institutions, the Royal Black Institution and the Royal Orange Institution. These are the only two institutions who can make a stand against the encroachment of the Church of Rome.
Can I open it?
So I.
We're selling shoes.
Wait a minute, I stripped on my velvet. Love is all as long as
For the great awards, thank you.
I was quite pleased for Colin, really, because they're a nice couple. And he's a nice boy. You know, having brought up in the East End. If Michael gets a job, maybe things will be different then. You know, to start off married life, you know, and no work, and how they're going to cope with unemployment money. And this was a bit of a worry because I know it's kind of hard for everybody. That many unemployed. A lot of people's finding it hard, trying to build up at home with unemployment money.
Glaswegians enjoyed looking over their shoulder to the good, bad old days. One of the hits of the season at the Citizens Theatre in the Old Gaubles is a drama of tenement existence in the 30s. The romance of poverty endured together.
No, we're finding out we have got seats
left.
Someone will be able to tell you that.
Some come to remember the way it was.
Come on, ladies, in you go. Hope you've enjoyed.
Thank you.
Others, perhaps the children of a later depression, to to see what they'd missed.
Oh, nice to see you.
Jenny no in the night?
No, as he's become one of the platinum blondes.
Somebody must have told her that gentleman prefers them.
Oh, wait till you, Edie and my Mary get started. They'll not be lying the way they're going on these days.
Here, that reminds me. My Edie says the teacher says you and Mary's got beasts in her head.
Oh, that shriek! Beasts! What a thing to say.
Can you deny it?
Oh, wait till I get my hands on yon bitch, your teacher.
Can you deny it?
I never heard the like.
You just look me in the eye, Mrs. Harris, and tell me your Mary's got no beasts.
It's not fair, so it's no.
See, she can't deny it.
She can't deny it.
Ah, well, what's an odd louse?
Right enough. I'll tell you what's an odd louse. It's the mother of a whole battalion. Mind, she's no playing with my Edie till she's cleaned.
You needn't be, you ginger. I wouldn't let her.
I'm enjoying the play, but I just feel it's just a little over-exaggerated on the period.
No, it's not overstated at all. It's very, very accurate in my opinion. It all depends on how you were brought up. He was maybe brought up in a better atmosphere and a better class, but if you were brought up in the slums, that's the way it was.
I remember these days. I was born in these days.
Was it as hard as
Oh
they
yes,
portrayed it?
definitely. Oh yes. In fact, when I talk to people and tell them about it, like people like you, they only listen to me, but you have to live through it to know it.
The mothers had an awful time feeding the children. There's no food in the house. They lived in bread and margarine for the week. They got their dole money at the end of the week, and they fed for a day or maybe 2 days, and the rest of the week was bread and margarine. That's true.
Oh, Mrs. Morrison!
Mrs. Morrison, we wanted to... I hope it's no Marge, I've named.
Like that, you'd think we never come near you except to mooch off you.
We've come to tell you there's been an accident.
At your Alex?
Oh, what happened?
It's the street, your Alex Street.
The Hoosies is collapsed.
The close next to your Alex is the worst. They put all the folk out it.
And they've yon wee red lamps.
We was just new the pictures and we seen the crowd.
I thought it was a fire over here, that's what it was.
Just like an earthquake, sort of.
Like yon film with Jeanette MacDonald and Clark Gable.
There's a sink sitting out in the open air.
And you can see right into a bedroom.
And there's a chest of drawers.
And a pair of trousers hanging by the braces and no man inside them.
Did you see your Alec?
No.
But they said there was no deaths.
Yin chap, his he'd split open.
But that was all the casualties, as far as we can.
When did this happen, John?
2 years ago, past June. 2 years past June.
Goodness gracious.
Some mess, eh?
It is that.
Officially, Glasgow would like to bury the old image of a crumbling city. But it's still too real to be forgotten. It happened to half of John McKendrick's bowler's pub.
What exactly happened?
Well, the building simply collapsed. This whole corner simply came down. Fortunately, at 1 o'clock in the morning after we had closed and gone home.
Were there people in the
Yes,
tenements above?
Yes, the tenement was occupied. 3 families. Top flat was a family, a lady in the second flat, and an old chap in the first flat.
Oh, were they in when this happened?
Yes.
The children were in bed in the top floor and actually came all the way down in the bed, came down with all the rubble.
What happened to them?
One, the eldest girl broke her leg, and the other just had bruising. So it was a miracle of the first order, really.
What's going to happen to this building now?
Well, funnily enough, after the collapse, some months after it, we had notification that the building was now a listed building, and as such will be retained. So hopefully the whole tenement is going to be reinstated, and one day the bar will be back in business, I hope.
We'd have been in that bar that night, we wouldn't have been standing here today. We never have stood here.
It wasn't that daft, Emily. He took a tick book away before it fell down.
That's nothing about it. An old guy stayed right above the shop. And when they were clearing out the shop, I was singing songs out of daily record of the 1915s, and we found a summons that he had been sent to court for not doing his fire watching during the war. The things that old guy must have hoarded, papers years and years, that when they were cleaning it out, we sat out there reading all the old things, you know. It was funny at that, but it wasn't funny when it actually happened, you know.
I remember 7:30 in the morning news that a pub had collapsed in Greenhead Street, Bridgeton. And I say to myself, Christ, there's only one pub in Greenhead Street, Bridgeton, you know. Footballers, you know. I couldn't believe it. It was unbelievable. It was like a wee piece of your life being taken away, you know. That makes sound hard to believe, but knowing everybody in here, I mean, we all stood outside. I think I met you that morning, and they were all standing there looking at the place. Oh God, where are we going to drink now?
There's a tragic quality to the way that Glasgow still clings to a social calendar that's long expired. But in a city that more than once has been blighted by planners and abandoned by politicians, the warm image of old values and old communities is at least a lifeline and a comfort.
And not 5 sparrows sold for 2 farthings, and not one of them is forgotten before God.
The importance, I think, to most of our members would be in this day and age, a patriotic organisation. It perhaps sounds terribly old-fashioned, but it means a lot to a lot of people.
And also confess before the angels of God.
When people seem so indefinite about things that they believe, it's very important to Scots in particular that they should belong to an organisation which stands firmly and positively for something. And in this particular case, we're really talking about Protestantism.
I now declare the lodge legally constituted for all business which will be brought before it. The seat of Brown. Any new business in Brown? Well, regards the tragedy that happened with one of our sisters and a brother, young sister that took her own life through stress and strain, and the same day, the funeral, they came home to have their tea and that, and the fire collapsed and died also. Well, the office bearers had a meeting, and we have recommended at such a great need, the people had no money of any description and insurance, etc. And again, this is what I feel the brotherhood is for. When a brother or sister need help, we should be there and give them our full support. And the office bearers of this lodge has recommended that we donate £100. Any brother wise-minded? No brother wise-minded? If not, I declare that carried. Regards inquiry committee, when you bring a candidate forward, make sure he's of the proper standard which we require.
How secretive an organisation is it? You get the impression that there's a lot of secret ceremony and secret communication between people.
Well, the only way you would get to that is get into it, is join it.
That's the only way you'll find out.
That's the only way you'll find out, is join it.
Is that to keep undesirable people out?
Oh yes, it is. I mean, they've got to come up in front of an investigation committee before they can get in. I mean, you can't just walk off the street. You've got to be nominated by a friend, and then you come up in front of a committee, and you go into your character.
So just ask, were any correspondence, Bram McFarlane?
I only received one letter with the son. It's from our own sister lodge, Ladies Lodge 177, extending a warm welcome to us all at the next meeting, where they intend to have a harmony after the meeting.
Oh, when it's darkness on the delta, and all the stars are shining let me linger in the shelter of the night. Oh, fields of garden all around me, the swinging salty low. Lord, I'm lucky 'cause I found you where the muddy Mississippi water flow. Oh, Basin Street, it is the street.
It's just got a certain magnetism that I can't quite describe. I can't put it into words. It's just something special about the East End.
Never know how much it seems, just how much it really means.
They've now taken people out of quite a densely populated area, destroyed the area, but you've still got that community spirit, especially around about the bowlers. It's just this magnetism, people sticking together through thick or thin, and they don't drink in their own schemes because they can come down to the East End again and meet people that they've went about with all their days, but they can't get this community spirit in their own separate schemes.
I'm gonna sit right down and write myself a letter, and I'll make believe it came from you. I'm gonna write what's oh so sweet. Oh, it's gonna knock me out my feet. I'm a kisses on the bottom. I'll be glad I got 'em. Oh, I'm gonna write and say, I hope you're feeling better. And the clothes with was the way I do. I'm gonna sit right down and write myself a letter. And make believe it came from you. Oh, yeah.
We've been brought up in this spirit. It'll take an awful lot to destroy it, no matter what the powers may try, but I don't think it'll ever destroy the feeling for the East End. I mean, you can never turn the clock back. Whether they could create the same community spirit, well, it's the hands of the gods, the Philistines.
Be sailing far across the sea, while I'm away. Oh, please remember me when I return. I'll find you waiting here. Watch how you go.
Next week, the last of these film portraits concentrates on the city's 3,000 vagrants living on